One Question is designed to give subscribers valuable insights on how executive leaders in college athletics think about key issues on their respective campuses, in their departments, or within their leagues and conferences.
Greetings, this is Ty Brown and welcome to One Question. Our guest today is Tim Schoonveld. Tim is the co-athletics director at Hope College. Greetings, Tim. Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me. Glad to be here.
Now, Tim, this is your 9th year in the role as co-athletics director. And there at Hope, you guys have a way of basically creating a community where everybody comes to the game. And when I say everybody, this is not necessarily just students, but the community and a number of other folks. And as you know, as an athletics director, and sure you've seen around the country, even at some of the big time programs, sporting event attendance is something that many college athletics programs struggle with in this age of digital streaming and everything is online. How has Hope College been able to maintain its consistency with regard to attendance at its men's and women's basketball game? And when I say consistency, I mean at a high level. I mean, you guys average over 2,300 attendees, which is almost 1,000 people more than the next highest in Division III. And that's not just men's and women's. You average 1,100, and you guys are tops in that also. How have you there at Hope College been able to maintain that consistency?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I think we're just really blessed by being in a fairly small community where people want to be a part of it. And I think one of the unique things for Hope College is talking about, kind of like a family atmosphere where, and I'm saying this very respectfully, but we have a significant population of like retirees that were either connected to the college or have moved into the community just because they want to be here. And this becomes like their activity to do. There's a local retirement village that houses a lot of people in our community, and they bus people over. So that's one of the expectations, is that people can hop on the bus and come to events. We run what we call our H Club luncheons, here second semester, where the two coaches are just coming up and talking about the upcoming games or the previous games, and that's just highly attended by those same people, and they want to be there. So I mean, that's I think, first of all, we've just been blessed. I think second of all, our teams have been very successful. So sometimes when you look at it, if you've got a 12-12 team, you're going to get a 12-12 crowd, which isn't going to be, say, 2,300 or 1,100. So that's really helped that we've had some success. I would say our old head coach and our legendary head coach, Glenn Van Wieren, who coached here for 30 years, had 500 and some wins. The joke around town is he's just kind of Mr. Holland. And, he really kind of, put Hope basketball, I think, on the map, and really everybody knows him and he connects with everybody. So he's really created kind of a family atmosphere, and that just has kind of carried over into what we're trying to do. The ironic thing for Hope is our student attendance, I think, is probably similar to a lot of schools. It's just been pretty average. In fact, we've tried to do everything we can over the years to get students out, and there's just too many opportunities for students to do things for them to be fairly consistent. And so we've sort of had to reevaluate and say, hey, how do we continue to support and I'm saying this very respectfully, but a little bit older population, and that would include me and even older people. And so you start looking at what does that look like for us in terms of what type of music we're playing, how loud we play that music. We do some fan appreciation nights, and we're really blessed and appreciate what we have.
How much influence do your men's and women's basketball coach have in designing some of the fan engagement strategies that you guys currently implement?
They definitely give input. Here's sort of from an administrator's perspective. I think to get students out, the coaches have to be engaged. What we found is the only time we really get significant student population is if we play our arch rival. Then they come out of the woodwork, or if we give them something free. And so you're giving them T-shirts, or you're giving them food, or you're doing something like that. Well, obviously Division III, our budgets aren't big enough to continually do that. So that makes it hard. And so I think for coaches to develop relationships with students on campus beyond their team, for coaches to be encouraging their teams to be engaged and offer some things, hey, at the food service, there's just a lot of things that we encourage. Some coaches are better at that than others. So I would say that's a big piece. A lot of the for most of us as administrators too, it's just become, you're not really hosting games anymore. You're hosting events. And people want to be a part of an event. So are there giveaways? Are there, raffles for food vouchers? Is popcorn half price? But really, in the end, it goes back to, I think, developing relationships and making even our fans feel like they're a part of what we're doing, and that's what draws them in. When they get to talk to our student athletes or see our student athletes at a luncheon or those types of things, that draws them in, and they feel like they're a part of it. When they get to know the parents of our athletes, I mean, that really has become something for me, even that's just really special here.
Right. Well, it's I have a saying. Then it's that the role of a leader is to create and maintain an environment that people want to be a part of, and it sounds like you guys have done just that there at Hope College in terms of busing people in from the local communities there and giving people an event to look forward to within their lives. They probably get excited, have the schedules marked out to make sure their schedules are clear for a Hope College basketball game, men's and women's, and they make sure that they include that in whatever they're planning throughout the year. It sounds like a wonderful experience.
Yeah, and I mean, absolutely. I mean, even as much, and it's not a lot of them, but even you get some of our diehard fans that will show up at most of our practices, and they'll just sit in the stands and they'll just watch, and they just kind of want to be a part of it. And I think when you talk about the coaches engaging, there's two ways to look at that. I mean, some coaches are, I run a closed practice, kind of, I don't want you here, versus, hey, we're going to have an open practice. And some coaches, that we have here, that will just go up and talk to them and say, hey, this is our longtime fan, let's give them a hand. And that stuff, I think, goes a long way. One of the things that I've had to adapt really is the tension that we have between some of our older fans who the music is too loud and it's a little bit too edgy, and then what our student athletes want. And so initially it was like, hey, we're gonna be loud and we're gonna get it going and we're gonna do all this kind of stuff, and we've had to step back and say, hey, look at our population is not as much students and much more sort of an older crowd. And so, hey, how can we connect with them? In some of our other sports, we've done era games where, we'll bring in, old recruits from the 80s or from the 70s, and we're trying to play some music that connects with them and that type of a thing. And so, beyond that, we've just been really blessed. I mean, we've had some really good teams. We've got unbelievable facilities. I mean, our facility is great, and that helps make it an environment that they want to be a part of. We've got flip seats instead of bleachers, and they can buy reserved seats. So that, to be honest, that helps with that type of crowd, and we're grateful. So,
well, it sounds like, and even with the coaches, while they may or may not feel like they have the time to engage and send their student athletes out to engage as much with the current students. Running an open practice, it seems like they understand the value of the people who are currently in attendance to the game and allowing them to come and interacting with those fans as they show up.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's been great for us, and I think our coaches, particularly in those two sports, get it, and they know how to really connect with with those who love it. And it's definitely more fun to play in front of, I think last weekend we hosted the women's games. We had basically 2,000 people each night. That's a fun environment at women's games to be a part of. So, we're excited, and we don't take it for granted, and hope that we can keep it going, and we can keep connecting with them.
Well, excellent, Tim. This has been an excellent conversation with a few nuggets that people can pick up on. I just want to say thank you, and I appreciate you joining us today on One Question.
Thanks. Have a great day.
That was Tim Schoonveld. He is the co-athletics director at Hope College, and this is Ty Brown with One Question. There at Hope College, they're very successful. The Division III average in men's basketball attendance is 370 people, while Hope averages 2,319. And so this has been very enlightening in terms of attendance and what Hope College does to ensure that their fans have a great experience. Again, this is Ty Brown with One Question. And keep in mind, the role of a leader is to create and maintain an environment that people want to be a part of. And as always, be better tomorrow than you are today. This episode of One Question is produced by Spades Media Group, solving problems using creative leadership.